Welcome back to Northwest Elite Spirit, the channel you come to train your mind, body, and spirit. I'm Coach Brian. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, do that now and make sure to ring that notification bell to stay up to date on all of my newest releases. This is, I looked strong, but my body was falling apart. Now, this is a lifelong story, and I'll try to make it short for the sake of the video. This is a story about stress and its impact on anybody whatsoever. Now, my earliest memory is when I was 3 years old and we became homeless. Lost my dad and we became homeless and began bouncing around. When we finally found a spot, we were surrounded by alcoholism, drug abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, and SA. Now, I wasn't SA'd, but it was going on around me. At the age of 13, I began practicing martial arts and weightlifting, different fitness regimens, I think in order to build armor around myself towards the things that I had grown up in. And though I was practicing fitness, practicing martial arts, yoga, meditation, and stuff like that, I was still around a bad crowd and would end up in situations that were not healthy for me. At the age of 17, I got my first apartment, and between 17 and 19, those were probably the healthiest years that I had because I was doing my own thing, and I decided who could be around and who could not be around. But that being said, at the age of 19, I met a woman, and she moved in, and that began 14 years of, if not equal stress, even more stress. Eventually, that led to a nasty divorce, and after that divorce, I became homeless off and on again. One kid or another would live with me again off and on. So I was managing trying to stay out of homelessness or being homeless while having one or other of the kids living with me. Eventually, did get a stable place. Lasted about 3 years. But when I moved into that place and my daughter moved in with me, I was still reeling, and my daughter was still reeling from just all the stuff that we had going on in life. I was working 2 gigs, but those gigs weren't bringing in enough to build toward anything. It was just enough to barely keep us going. And on top of that, my mother, due to all those things that were going on in her life when my brother and I were children, became deathly ill, and she moved in preparation to pass away. And so I began taking care of her while doing the 2 gigs. And at the same time, the 2 gigs began bringing in even less money. My mom moving in was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, and holding her hand as she passed away is probably the absolute hardest thing I've ever had to do. So while we're living in this place, I have become an ultra runner. Maintain martial arts, but not as much, but a lot of running, up to 200 miles, and I'm preparing for 200 miles while we stay in this spot. So after Mom passes away, I'm able to kind of ramp up my training, and I'm running 20 to 26 miles to jiu-jitsu, depending on the growth along the paths that I take, and participating in open mat and then class, so a huge output. And I catch COVID. COVID hits me hard for about 2 months. I still complete my 200-mile run goal, but I am really, my body is really hit hard. And COVID leads to a chronic sinus infection. So we're asked to leave this place, and though I'm finding places to like exchange work for rent. And I'm also finding places that are interesting to keep making videos and keep training in the way that I like. I'm starting to get comments that I am looking too skinny, I'm looking unhealthy, and me being the forever optimist, being the forever like having a positive outlook, I'm just like kind of brushing it off. And then even when I do begin to notice, I figure that it's something that I'll eat healthier, I'll work out more, and this is how I'm going to resolve this. And the working out more and eating healthy will translate into making videos that will bring revenue. And so it's just the idea that if I grind harder, this is how I'm going to resolve this. But all along, the more I grind, the more I try to make something happen, the deeper my eye sockets get, the blacker my eyes get, the more sunken my face, the more tight my jaw, and the more furrowed my brow. So I do my 200, and I decide that I'm not going to keep trying to do ultras because I'm kind of realizing that something's going on with my health here that I need to resolve, and all this grinding just isn't paying off. The training for 200s, the training for martial arts, the grinding towards making these videos, none of it's paying off, and it's actually, I'm starting to deteriorate. And so I back off of the 200s, but I keep helping other people in 200s. I'm doing 94 miles, I'm doing 150 miles, 13, I'm doing 64. And after that 64 miler, a lot of ultra runners have experienced this. I don't know about other people, but there's this feeling that you get where it's like your nerves are fried, and it's a feeling throughout your whole body, and it's like a dull, almost like a zapping feeling, I would describe it as, that goes throughout your whole body, and eventually it goes away. And after my last 64 mile helping somebody complete their 200 miles, it didn't go away as quickly as it normally would, and normally I wouldn't get that after 64 miles. And so that was like an indicator, okay, something's going on here, of course, coupled with the sinus infection that's not going away. So I back off even further, and then I began to notice that if I just work hard, say 3 days a week of like hard labor, I get that feeling comes back, and it almost feels like it hasn't actually ever gone away. And so that was kind of like the real catalyst, the fact that that feeling hasn't really gone away. And even after cutting sugar and eating healthy and cutting way back on all of my activities, my eyes were still very sunken, still very black. My face was sunk, my jaw was clenched, and my brow was just very furrowed. You can even see some of the remnants of the sinus infection still. And this, it looked like it was like really resolving itself until my face began filling out, and the eyes began to fill in and pushing all of those, I guess, blood vessels and the sinus cavities to the surface. And today it looks a lot better, but say Friday it looked like I had 2 black eyes. And so what I've realized is that I need not just a rest, but a hard reset. Because between everything that I grew up with, the marriage, the divorce, the homelessness, the current homelessness, and the constant grinding, and though running and jiu-jitsu are things that I love doing, and even making these videos are things that I love doing, the constant grind is actually, it's not benefiting me, it's actually harming me. And so what I need is not a rest, but to be absolutely still and have a hard reset. And so that is what I'm doing right now. I'm doing a hard reset in order to just recalibrate my body and feel not so fried all the time. And I've decided this not because I'm exhausted or because I feel defeated or that I can't handle my situation, but just because paying attention to myself, I realize that I better do a hard reset despite everything that's going on, despite my situation. If I keep grinding, I'm only going to harm myself more. And maybe next time I reach that tipping point, I won't be able to recover and I'll topple over and have something very wrong happen to me. So I've dropped a major part of the physical output. I'm not running. I am hiking almost every day, sometimes long hikes. I go to jiu-jitsu once or twice a week, depending on how I feel. It's something else that I'm not going to press. I'm not going to force anything. I'm just dialing it way back and allowing my body and mind to recalibrate themselves in order to do better when I do find some momentum. And actually now the healing is coming very fast. Like I said, Friday, it looked like I had two very dark black eyes. Before that, it looked like they had gone away. But that was only because my eyes were still so very sunken in, and now they're filling out. My cheeks were very drawn in, and those are beginning to fill out. I looked oftentimes either bored or angry or sad, and the brightness has come back to my eyes. My voice is projecting rather than being stuck inside my head. I haven't had problems with sleep in a very long time, but even that has improved and I'm sleeping better than ever. Rather than looking like I'm aging, I used to be known for how young I looked, and that is starting to come back, that youthful appearance. And now that I've allowed all this pressure that I was putting on myself to fall away, all of my systems are coming back online and running smooth. So right now, not only am I rebuilding, say, my home life, but I'm also rebuilding my mind and body. Rather than forcing anything, I'm calibrating. I'm more aware of what's going on inside myself and outside myself rather than just grinding through things. I'm not chasing anything and not feeling like I have to put out these videos in order to gain revenue or gain followers toward gaining revenue. And I'm not guarding myself from anything like I've been doing since the age of 3. I'm correcting the damage, stabilizing my body, and allowing my body and mind to fall into the place they were supposed to be before I got so far off track. So this is how I've gotten here, this is how I'm healing myself, and this is how I'm going to come out stronger than I've ever been. Now I'm standing in a place that I've been trying to reach for years and years and just going about it the wrong way. I'm not running myself into the ground. I'm not constantly grinding. I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone, and I'm not pretending at strength when underneath everything is falling apart. I'm steady, present, and clear, fully in my body. My nervous system is resetting. That raw feeling like something is on my nerves is dying down. The dark circles are going away. The face is filling up. The brow is not so furrowed. The smile is back. The shiny eyes are coming back. My voice is clear. My breathing is flowing. I'm not living in survival mode. I'm not bracing for whatever catastrophe is next. I'm not carrying that instability that a lifetime of homelessness and instability can carve into your body. I'm using flow instead of force, stillness instead of grinding, and awareness instead of adrenaline. Deliberate action instead of reacting to chaos. I'm not trying to use a bullhorn. Look how strong I am. Look how strong I can make you. I'm not aggressive or frantic. I'm calm, controlled, rooted, and quietly powerful. I feel like I have solid ground beneath my feet, even though I am still in the situation that I'm in. My internal system has changed, and I'm feeling more clear than ever before. I'm no longer recovering from collapse, chaos, or the grind. I'm just still in the moment. I'm sharper, more aware, more dangerous, but in the best way, and more in command of my faculties. So where I stand now is simple. I'm done fighting my way through life. I'm done forcing my way through life. I'm done mistaking output for progress. I'm rebuilding a life actually suited for me, a body I can rely on, and a mind that I can trust. I've always had a presence that doesn't fold under pressure, and this is just doubling that mindset. And this is the real version of me, and it's a version that I think wouldn't have come along without the collapse, without the need to stop and be still. The fact that everything has collapsed gives me the opportunity to start over and with a stronger, more solid foundation. And so this is just the beginning. This has been, I looked strong, but my body was falling apart. Once again, I'm Coach Brian with Northwest Elite Spirit. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, do that now. And make sure to ring that notification bell to stay up to date on all of my newest releases. If you found this content interesting or helpful, hit the like button and comment your thoughts below. Not only your thoughts on the video, but comment your weakest point and how you rebuilt or how you are going to rebuild. Share this content with like-minded individuals or anyone you think can use it, and most importantly, practice. You can hire me to coach you online or in person by contacting me at northwestelitespirit@gmail.com. You can find my books, The ABCs of Strength and Endurance and Running Made Easy, on Amazon and Kindle. Thanks again.